I tell my clients all the time, bad systems beat good people every time. They've all said it. All the greats have said it. As a leader, for you to take a posture of the system has failed you as an actor in that system. And we're not going to blame individual actors. We're going to assign blame to the system and work together on the same side of the table to go address that. And Mark, what I'd love to hear from you, and having coached so many people through this and having now written the book and compiled these stories, your perspective, like, it's easy for you and me to sit here and talk about this. And I get it consciously. It makes sense. And I agree with it. And I want to apply it. But then when I make the mistake in my own business, and when I was an engineering leader and I made the mistake myself there at Whirlpool Corporation, especially when it then impacted my team in a negative way, or there was that fear of repercussion from senior leadership or whatever. Like the emotion of that, the pain of that, the reality that you experience on the ground is a whole lot different than you and I just chatting about, create a great culture around mistakes. So how do you actually improve at this and work through the emotion and the fear and the frustration or the whatever to move the needle and improve the culture, dealing with ourselves and all of that comes up? How do we get better?
There's all kinds of emotion, everything you said. There's embarrassment, there's disappointment in ourselves or in others. And I mean, I think we can't discount or eliminate the emotion. We're human, right? As engineers, we're going to tend to the very logical part of our brain, but we've got emotions too, whether we're willing to express them or embrace them or not. And one thing that's important, and I think this is either I try to direct this toward myself or direct it towards others, is kindness. And it's sometimes easier to be kind toward others than it is to yourself. Yes. I'm hard on myself. I'm trying to get better. The overly simplistic, incorrect way of stating it would be, this person made a mistake and ended one of our webinars prematurely. There's more to it than that, right? There were systemic failures and mistakes made, some of which being mine, and failing to anticipate the risk. And like, it would be totally unfair to have gotten upset at that person and to have blamed them in some way, because guess what? They already felt bad enough. In the phone, or it was a Zoom call, it was probably a Zoom call. I'm not the type who's going to just lay into somebody. It was more of like, help us understand what happened. But then I think, I don't know if it was a look I saw on his face, or I became kind of attuned to the emotion of like, this person was really upset. Mm-hmm. They didn't mean to do it. Well, of course, right? I mean, there was no intent. They weren't sabotaging the webinar. That would be different. That would be addressed differently. It was a mistake. They didn't know the action they took was going to end the webinar. And I realized that we had to take a beat to ask, before jumping into root cause analysis, before asking why did this happen, what could have allowed this to occur, the necessary question was, how are you feeling? Mm-hmm. How are you doing? And if somebody feels bad, don't say, don't feel bad, we have to move on. Like, sometimes you have to just let that be for a minute and say, like, okay, do you need some time? Or do we can come back to this later this afternoon. This is not a life or death. Must be, we must troubleshoot it right now, this instant, to give some space. But then I think what helps us, and I think this is true when I reflect on my own mistakes, and sometimes I try to kind of soothe myself, not dwelling on the feeling, the bad feeling, the embarrassment, the disappointment, the shame, whatever. What allows us to move past that is moving forward now into root cause analysis and process improvement or systems improvement or mistake proofing. Then I think we can say we've accomplished something, and that's very unlikely or impossible to happen again. We can feel good about that.
I really love this. For one, Mark, I'm just glad that you're the one saying engineers have emotions too, because I say that all the time and people get tired of hearing it from me.